Generating leads to celebrity endorsement and sponsorships. I love celebrities. We all love celebrities. We all follow them in any way, somehow or another. We're influenced by them, and proximity is power. We all want to be associated with a celebrity, whether we want to admit it or not, in one way or another. If we see a celebrity, especially the American way, they follow a celebrity, they read about it, they want to say, oh, I met so-and-so, oh, look at the picture that I am with him, oh, guess what, well, this celebrity is a friend of my friend of my friend of my friend. We all talk about him and we brag about him, whether we admit it or we don't. And nowadays, especially in the United States, where the association with celebrities is huge, the impact that they make in the community is not always positive, but we could choose to leverage that in a way that it benefits us. And that's what I chose to do. I love boxing, I love Formula One, and I love soccer. And because my son was going to be a pro and then he decided not to, I leveraged my PR skills to meet a lot of people in soccer. And now what I did is I chose some of them and I convinced them to work with us to add some value to what we did. So, next slide. That's why celebrities. Next one. So, celebrities, what I found is they have their own followers. A lot of them have a lot of followers. And it's not about the number of followers, whether they have millions or 100,000s, but it's about the type of followers. So what I do is I try to align our values. We value in our resorts, as well as in the marketing that we do, family time together. We also value social responsibility and giving back. And we didn't have the leverage of having a historic brand. The brand that we leverage is Cancun. We don't have a Marriott brand. We do not have a Hilton brand. We are not a brand setter. So what we did is we had to leverage other people's brand and celebrity, and that's what I did to drive marketing. So what I did is I tried to seek these celebrities that were aligned with our values. And what they did to us is they drove traffic to our websites, to the landing pages, to the different 32 marketing strategies. They also would use it, and we would have an arrangement with them. Sometimes it was based on values, sometimes it was based on exchange for time together, sometimes it was in exchange for a revenue share. So my recommendation is try to find, there's always some kind of celebrity in your organizations that has a relationship, either direct or indirect, and invite them to see maybe they could be influencers and maybe they want to be part of your family and drive traffic. They are a great way to leverage loyalty base, because some of us, like I said, they were building our brand. They help us to build our brand and also bring followers. The first very successful campaign that we did with Rafa Marquez. Rafa Marquez played in Barcelona for 9 years. He is the amazing captain of our Mexican team for years. He has not retired yet. And after his success in Barcelona, he opened a foundation in Mexico, and he wanted to give back to the community. So he formed the Rafa Marquez Foundation. And his values were nutrition, education, culture for kids. So what I did is I went to see him, and I convinced them to do a revenue share program with us. So I said, if you endorse our marketing landing page, and you say that for every holiday that someone purchases from us, and when I meant holiday, I meant minivacs, because what I do is I produce minivacs for our own company. So for every minivac that someone purchases, I would donate to his foundation. So to make the long story short, I was aiming to have $1 million in volume, not a vacation ownership, just in volume of minivacs to drive customers, and I wanted 1,000 families. So I went to the Cancun Tourism Board and I said, could you help me leverage in social media And what I could do is just help me sit there on the board and say that you support this negotiation. I'll bring Rafa Marquez, you could sit next to them. So, of course, the Cancun Tourism Bureau said, of course, thank you, yes. So we had this great news presence, and we had this press release that was issued officially. So that way, I was giving him at no cost this great person to talk about Cancun. That was earned media for them. So I leveraged the Cancun landing page, which was Cancun.travel, to talk about it, and that helped us as well. So at the end of the day, we ended up working with Rafa Marquez for 5 years, and we gave him in 5 years $552,000. We gave him more money than Procter & Gamble or Kellogg's gave him. He would get $68,000 from Kellogg's. The first year it was cash. The second year they gave him cornflakes, and then the other half, he had to chase and send their financial person to get more money. And then all these board members of Kellogg's and Procter & Gamble always wanted to meet with him, go to dinner with him, and we didn't bother him. Leila and Ana and I didn't bother him. We didn't worry about it at all. So they give us a special recognition, and it was a great way to give back. And in any of our Minivac customers told us, Erika, we want you to prove to us that you gave that money, we would. So Leila would send her people if they needed to prove that we had given money to them. And then they felt proud that they were aligned in their values. And they forgot that we weren't Hilton, that we weren't Marriott, that we weren't this amazing worldwide brand. They simply liked us because from our marketing point of view, we were aligned in our values, and that also helped us build that credibility as well. The next campaign that we did, then what we did also with him, before that, is this is the tourism board, and this is the finance, and then these kids were kids that we invited. What I did later, and that it worked good, is that we said, why don't we bring those kids that you are changing the lives to an experience? Like, send me on vacation, but instead of for the reasons that these amazing women are going on vacation, these kids, because we wanted to help them dream. So those kids were the kids of the foundation that are in extreme poverty that had to walk 4 kilometers to go to a school that was funded by the Rafa Marquez Foundation, and the ones that got overall best behavior, grades, and sports and nutrition, so they had their own KPIs to follow, then they were invited to come to Hacienda Tres Rios, and they came to Hacienda Tres Rios, and they had something that hopefully will never forget in their lives, that will change their lives. So they experienced the holiday when some of them don't even have a permanent home. Then the next campaign was a very successful one. Who's a Man United fan? Sorry, Brian, but I had to do that. But anyway, Juan Mata is our very good friend, and I've been a friend with his father for a long time, and he did not build a foundation yet, but now he's associated with One Goal Team, which is a great, great organization where he is donating, as of last year, 10% of his global income to this foundation, and he's inviting other pros to do it as well. So before he signed that contract as a friendship, he came out, and my son, who manages and is the president of our foundation, invited him, and my son recruited from 2,000 kids, he recruited 300 kids. And those 300 kids were available to play with Juan Mata for 2 days straight and enjoy and be just coached by him, and it was an amazing experience. But what he did is he also filmed another program for us. And in this time, because he didn't have a foundation, he said, what I'll do is, I will donate to your own foundation, but you have to prove to me what you do. So the program for those kids is managed by Gustavo, my son, and what he does is he helps 162 local teams get equipment, sign, and that's what he has to prove to him. And he also helped us bring especially the South American market, that a lot of them follow Man United. The next one, if you're a Real Madrid fan, is of course, it's Ivan Zamorano. Ivan Zamorano is a Chilean, the most amazing Chilean so far. He played for Real Madrid. He also got a Pichichi. He now lives in Miami and works for ESPN too. And he had his own foundation. And we also filmed and we did a campaign for Colombians. The way that I relate this to Minivac and marketing as well is the fact that if you are going to an emerging market and you are not there yet, you can find a local celebrity or a local influencer and try to bring him on board, and he could be your testimony and help you. What this did for us is that allowed us to go to the Brazilian market, the Chilean market, the Colombian market, and now they felt gratitude to us because we were not only telling them, come on a Minivac where it's already hooked and you have to qualify, but at the same time we were telling them, by you coming with us, we're gonna give back to your country, not necessarily to Africa or to our country. So what we did with this is we would align the Chilean market with the Chilean foundation, the Colombian market with a Colombian foundation, the Brazilian market with the Ayrton Senna Foundation. And that's how we did it. And some celebrities, like in the case of Juan Mata, it cross-pollinates into different markets, which helps a lot because you have English followers, you have Asian followers. And what we do is we analyze their social media and then we see, and sometimes they share it with us, their KPIs that Instagram gives them on who is their main market. Sometimes you'd be amazed on how that can help as well. And this is our latest one. We have two latest ones, and one is Ramon Morales. Ramon Morales is a Mexican, and he was he was also one of the captains of Chivas, not Chivas USA, but Chivas Mexico. And even though he was not this top crack, he is a great example that you don't need an amazing start to necessarily generate revenue for you or bring marketing to you. He is a very consistent family-oriented man that has been married for 17 years, that lives and breathes his values in an amazing way, and he is the kind of person that can relate to our Mexican, American, Hispanic market in the States. Because as we know from the stats that always Arda shares with us, our average owner is 43 to 5 years old now. And that average owner recognizes him, and a lot of those Hispanics recognize him, and they live in the States. And we want the Hispanics in the States because they are Hispanics, they're Latinos, but they are earning dollars and they spend dollars. So that's how we related to them. He was not as costly as the rest because we didn't have to bring all this entourage around him. He was just as nice, and the revenue share was a bit minor than the rest of them. But I believe that he's one of the ones that's going to make most impact, and he's not necessarily the super amazing star. And we relate as well other industries like boxing to our brand, our marketing brand in Latin America, which is Vacacionante. And our latest campaign is with Julio Cesar Chavez. Next. And Julio Cesar Chavez, I don't know if you know him, but he's our #1 amazing boxer in the last 20 years of history in Mexico. There is even a series on his life that just was launched in TV Azteca and in Telemundo in Mexico, and he drove like the Canelo. He was the amazing man that would drive all this revenue to Vegas when he would perform. And we have a great campaign with him that has been working. And then we have also Chilindrina, which is just something very Latin that a lot of you won't recognize. Sorry, we went to Latin. And so what are the results of these crazy thinking? In 9 years of celebrity strategies, we've sold over $27,839,000. That's not in vacation ownership, that's in minivacs. I sell an average minivac of $658. It was actually a higher a higher minivac than my traditional minivac that had no celebrity. So that is a lot of couples that drove in. And then those couples that traveled in the last 9 years converted to 9,200,000, it was 9,286,000 approximately, volume in shared ownership. Our average sale for the Latin American market is $13,700, and our average sale for the North American market is $24,400. And the VPG would always start in between, at the beginning, because we hammer to amortize the cost of production, et cetera, probably at 500, 1,000, 1,000, and we were struggling, but there would always be a negative portion at the beginning, and then in about 5-6 months it would go on. What I want to do now is leverage all those videos and the way that I've paid TV and ads to distribute, and what I'm trying to seek now is how I can leverage that content, which is marketing content that's driving calls to your call center, or that is driving leads, or is driving minivacs. I want to now leverage them with companies in the way of internet. So now I want to make it viral. I want to make sure that I'm reaching, so that I'm not always using platforms on TV, et cetera, and we're also using artificial intelligence. Thank you.